So your involvement with this school choice, I don't know, statement, and then eventually that followed up into the resolution. It really kind of started with a letter to the editor through the Clarion Ledger with you and a few others. So I guess kind of my first question with this is who all was involved in writing this letter to the editor?
Well, it it started. Well, yeah. The answer to your question is my law partner Matt Dowd, who is a parent in Madison, has three kids in the public schools there, and then his friend um, Sarah Jackson, who they were talking about. They have a chat group in Madison that are very of public school parents that are very concerned about this issue. And so Matt and I have talked about it a long time, for a number of years, about that issue. And so that's where it came out. And I think that the idea was we need to have some. It's a very back up. It is a very national Republican Party type issue that's being really pushed by the National Republican Party. It's being funded, a lot of money coming into the state of Mississippi from the Republican Party
Yeah.
to push this issue. Why, I'm not exactly sure, but it's a hot button issue for the National Republican Party. And so the idea was to have Republican type people and Republicans that are concerned about this issue to speak out against it before any special session that might come about, or whatever the legislative session is, and have people start thinking about it before we get to the point where we've got a bill that's almost, or it has been passed. So that's where that discussion started, is to create this article that brings some thought process to some people that would typically just kind of automatically sign off on something that's a Republican talking point, and to start having people think about how that might affect education in Mississippi, how it might affect various towns, particularly in our case, my concern is the city of Clinton.
Yeah. So the city of Clinton, Hinds County, Madison, the city, Gluckstadt, Ridgeland, Madison County, this very much could affect all of us, in our opinion, very negatively.
Right.
Inside your letter, though, y'all landed on some specifics, which, of course, being good lawyers, I'd assume that you did your research and kind of, made your chart and all. How did you land on the specifics of what to include in your letter?
That's a good question. Just we were trying to make there. It could be a lot longer and
Yeah.
it would have been published.
Right.
And so just some things that would make people stop and think. Um, I think that it's not an improvement to education. I think that was one of the things that we wanted to concentrate on. That this is something that where it has been done has not been an improvement in education, but the public education has seen a decline, and I think that's important to look at. And for people, that they don't like our statistics, go look at Arkansas and some of the other red states that have passed this and where they now land in public education, and also the general talking point is Mississippi, that has been last or close to last in education for a million years, maybe my entire lifetime, is now not there at all. Has is risen through the ranks and the positioning of doing pretty well and doing much better. And why would we try to tinker with that in such a tinker is not a good choice of word. It is, I guess, a significant change for our public education right here when we're finally seeing some strides and some improvements and successes. So we wanted to showcase that we're in a good place, and also give some people some enough meat to spark interest in the issue.
Have you gotten any feedback from the letter itself? Have you gotten any feedback? And I guess, have you gotten any pushback?
No, and one other thing I mentioned that we put in there is the idea that, because the rumor, and we're not in a session at this point, and then
Right.
there's not even a special session called yet, but what we have heard from multiple sources is the plan is that they would put this school choice bill, wrap it up with things that are good, like teacher pay raises and things. And so we wanted to kind of call that out so that people, I've got to vote on it if I'm going to get a teacher pay raise. Well, you don't have to do that. You can carve that out. But anyway, but we have gotten, and I'm not on social media very little, if any. But
I'll tell you how jealous I am of you. If I didn't have to do social media for my profession, I don't know if I'd be on there. So the people who have kind of the peace that comes from no social media, I'm very jealous. So, but the feedback,
but I have seen, I think Matt screenshotted some comments. It's that article's been shared a lot around the state.
Yeah.
And I've gotten some only positive feedback. I don't, I think somebody would send it to me if they were dogging us, but I haven't. But much like that, I haven't met anybody. And I bring this topic up a lot for people to think about. And because of that article, people have brought it up to me a good bit lately. And there's not any one person that has brought it up or I've talked to or has commented about it that was in favor of this. I haven't met them. I'm searching them out. I'd like them to call me because I would love a debate about how that they think it would be positive for the state, but particularly how it would be positive for a town like Clinton. I don't understand that thought process at all.
So you kind of took the reins on the board of aldermen to kind of put together a resolution to where all of us would, affix our name to it. I always tell everybody in a city like Clinton, and you can change out the municipality in any southern state, any state across the nation. We're the 7 people who exactly where we stand on something because the rest of everybody else could lie one day and say something else the other day. But the 7 of us, we all voted unanimously to pass this. But you were the catalyst to take this idea from an opinion piece and then kind of turn it into a resolution from the governing body in the city. Where did that idea come from to kind of put some teeth in this?
Well, the thought was, okay, before the article, what can we do? And a lot of times I find myself just sitting back and looking at issues that come across various things and just sitting back and go, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
And then, I never say anything. But this issue I thought was, because of my position as an alderman representing the city of Clinton, I think this issue was like, okay, we can't just sit right back and not talk about this. I've also, and I know you've got children in the Clinton district and you work there, but I had the reason we moved to Clinton a million years ago was because of the school system, and we wanted our kids to be a part of it, and it was a great decision. Looking back at it, I now have 3 grandchildren in the same district, and I have 2 more that will be there before I know it. So it's important as my position as a city leader, but it's just a more personal level. It's important to me that my grandkids get the same educational opportunities in the city of Clinton that my children had, that I had. I'm a graduate of Clinton as well, but so the idea was to come up and let's do an opinion piece that we can publish. But then as I thought it was important for the city, the representatives of the city, those of us that speak for the city, to speak against this. And there was some discussion about waiting until we actually get a bill, which I see the value of that because there have been a variety of bills and a variety of provisions and different tone and various bills related to this issue. And I understand the thought process of waiting until we see exactly what we're talking about. But in fact, when you get a bill, it changes so much from the time, it's introduced to the time that it might be voted on to be passed into law, that I don't know that made sense. But I really felt like it was important to get out in front of it, much like the article that we did, that we get out in front of it and then be an example for other cities. Go ahead. Let's tell them how we feel about this, because the thought is that the only people really, really in favor of this are the leadership of our legislators. I don't know who else. Like I said, I'm a very public schools oriented sort of guy, and I hang out in Clinton a lot. But I haven't heard a lot of people in favor of it. But the idea was just to get out ahead of it.
Yeah, I was very much in favor of it, and I was really excited when you passed that. One of the things that when I first became an alderman that we dealt with was the agricultural land dispute of 2022, the great fiasco of 2022. I believe it was 2022. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I kind of equated that with was I'm not a farmer. I've never been a farmer, but I have been a teacher, and I have had governing bodies come and tell me what to do inside my classroom without ever stepping foot inside my classroom, and that I was never going to be that person. And then here we are in 2025 with representatives and senators across this state who are so very much pro their community, possibly trying to tell teachers and school districts what to do inside their own classrooms without ever stepping foot inside that classroom. And so that was where I was and why I wanted to vote that way, because I have been a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm a public educator. I'm in it. Kind of with the same question, going back with your letter. What kind of feedback have you gotten from the resolution? I've gotten a bit of feedback myself, but what have you gotten?
Well, just positive feedback. I've heard that there are a variety of cities that are considering adopting that or something similar. And so I think it's gotten a lot of attention and people looking at it, which is was the hope when we did it, was to have other municipalities look at it, consider
Yeah.
how it will affect their communities, and hopefully pass something similar.
Yeah, I've gotten comments and emails from other people inside education, inside communication, then also other people on other boards that have asked if we could share that with them, because I think that they saw this as a bold move. And again, we passed this as a board, as a collective unit, but I do like to give credit where credit is due. You were the catalyst on this. Kind of looking at the municipalities. So there's an argument that boards of aldermen should stay in their lane, and other municipalities should kind of follow suit on any sort of issue like this. We should worry more about paving streets, and we should worry more about infrastructure and pay raises and firefighters and police, and that we don't really have a voice inside this debate. I don't really subscribe to that, and I got a feeling you don't either. But what would you say if somebody said, just stay in your lane, stay in your ward?
And well, there are issues. I think that probably be something I might say, but this is not one of them. I mean, the lane here is the protecting of our city, and our city is so wrapped up in the epicenter of our city is our public school system, and we are very much involved in that. And we don't govern the school district, but we're involved in the budgeting and those kind of things. But the success or the lack of success or the damage to our public school district would be devastating for our city, our property values, our ability to pave roads or improve our parks and rec, and all of those things are wrapped up in the success of our schools. I've said that a lot over the 4 or 5 years I've served as alderman. Is that the Clinton public school system, which is spectacular, and we need to keep it spectacular. That and Mississippi College, which is also spectacular and is in the middle of our town. Those two things are our two biggest assets, and I also think that our diversity as a city is another huge asset. But it is paramount to our city that we not allow or we fight against what might come and damage that district.
So, kind of to close out, in the communications world, we always want to follow up with a call to action. We've got to have something to do. And there might be somebody out there who hears this, sees this, and thinks, "Well, I'd love to do something, but I can't pass a resolution." And you've already written a letter. What would you tell them to do if they want to do something about this? What should they do?
Well, first of all, educate themselves about the issue, and satisfy themselves that this is going to be a bad issue for our state. It would be a bad decision, particularly for the city of Clinton. And if you're in other communities, for your community as well. But secondly, contact your legislators and other legislators that you may know or may not know. Contact the Speaker of the House and the governor and whoever else you know, and tell them what you think about this, and take action. And then talk to your friends. And I don't want to downgrade the level of activity that those that vote Democrat should have. They should do the exact same thing. But those that vote Republican, because this is a Republican pushed issue, question it hard, look into it real deeply, and then contact the people that you have voted for and tell them you don't want that, and you're concerned about what it will do to our district and the town.
Well, Chip, I appreciate your time in the middle of a day. I know you've got things to do, and so I appreciate you giving me some of your time and not charging me like a lawyer should.
Oh, you get a bill. All right. Thanks,
appreciate it. Thank you.
See ya.